So, hey, really exciting interview today that I'm bringing you. This is the none other, incomparable, amazing, outstanding, unconventional Elisabeth Treadway. And today we're going to talk about she's had, man, you want to talk about a journey? You have had such a fascinating journey. And I just know that especially time like now, more than ever, what do we need? We need some hope, some inspiration, stories of perseverance, resilience. And I have to say, your situation, your journey you've been on has all of that. And so I just want to dive in and first of all, say hi to you and hi to everybody that's going to be watching this interview. And we're just really grateful that you're here and sharing with us some wisdom, some hope, some inspiration today, and talking us through your story. So remind everybody, okay, how did we meet?
Well, we met before you even met me, but
Okay.
I was in treatment for drug and alcohol addiction, and it was a women's center here in South Florida. And there was this buzz around the place because Heidi was coming to talk, and girls who had heard you speak before were really excited, and the counselors and the therapists were touting all of your amazingness. And then I saw you in a room and I thought, no effing way. And I thought you had on a light blue, like powder blue dress with some ruffles, and you and I are very different vibes when it comes to hair and makeup and whatnot. And I thought to myself, oh my God, this bee thinks she's Barbie. Like, she is 70s Barbie. I don't know. There's no way I'm not listening to a single word she has to say. And then you started your talk with saying, I felt like a 70s Barbie this morning, so I put on my vintage 70s prom dress, and here I am. And I was like, oh, okay, well, she's aware, so that's good. And it really just, it struck me how you pretty much took the words out of my brain that I thought when I saw you. And then you had so much conviction and passion, and the things that you said rang 1,000% true to me almost instantly. So just to not listen and dislike you based on outward appearances.
I love that.
Kind of instantly fell in love with you. So
I love that, and it's mutual, for sure. I think that it's when you're in a treatment center like that, you're already kind of thinking, okay, what's I already kind of know, right? It wasn't your first rodeo, right?
No.
So
not even close.
Not even close. So talk a little bit about what it was like for you up until that point, trying to get sober. What were you out there doing and using up until that point?
It was probably my second real attempt at getting sober, and I'd been drinking and using since I was 12.
Yeah.
And the first time I got sober, I had just turned 30, so about 18 years of avoidance in general of any real feeling, with any method I could find to avoid. And I got sober for a couple of years at that point just by walking into the rooms of AA. And I more or less got shoved in by a therapist who said, I won't see you again until you go to a meeting, which I had a few choice words for, most of which were like, fix me, that's your job, and my checks don't bounce, so you will see me again no matter what I do. But she'd known me for a while by then and was like, no, actually I won't. Don't care about your money. So I had walked into a meeting, and I ended up being sober for 2 years, and it had seemed relatively easy, but I didn't in that time really address any of the inside issues. And so a couple of years later, when the new and shiny wore off of being sober and new friends and this kind of easier life with my relationships and family, the new and shiny wore off, and I went back to what I'd been doing. And so then I went out and used for a good another 6 years. And I tried to just do AA again, and it didn't work. And I was perplexed as to why I couldn't just walk back into a room and get sober again after I had the first time. And so I'd been to, by the time I got to the treatment center with you, I had gone to one other inpatient treatment, successfully completed it on the outside, meaning I followed the rules and I said what I needed to say and did the work they asked me to do, knowing full well that I had zero intention of changing anything on the outside, on the way out the door. So I don't think I stayed sober more than a week or two after that treatment center, as soon as they stopped drug testing me for the outpatient part of it. And I used for about another 9 months, maybe, before I landed in Florida. And
what was different about this time in the treatment? Like, what do you think was different in you? Because, you hear that all the time, like, well, this place works, or this place didn't work, or AA worked, or it didn't work. And we know, it's really up to us to make any of those things work. What was different in you when you arrived to treatment the last time that you went there?
I was so tired. I think I just, things had gotten worse than they'd ever been before. I was a different kind of tired. I was physically tired. I was emotionally tired. I was mentally tired, in just a way that I hadn't been any time before that. Because the reality is there's a million different things that work, and they work when you're ready. And so I could try all of those things that worked for a dozen other people, but unless I'm ready, they're not going to work for me. And so I had lost a lot of will to live, and that was different for me. It was just it was a really different experience of waking up and not wanting to wake up. Hadn't been to that low before.
Let me push pause for 1 second. We are back to our regular scheduled programming. Interruption. And yes, in case you were curious, that was an eye patch being worn as a bikini top.
Hey,
we're being creative.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
I say, okay, work from home. They said it'd be great. They said, okay. So
funny, and the water's warm.
Yeah. So what you were saying though was so important, and that was a really unfortunate time to be interrupted, because you're really talking about being so depressed you wanted to die. I mean, that's really what it sounded like. You just were at that breaking point. And I think ready.
Things were on the outside still looked pretty good.
Sure.
I had the house, the car, I had a boyfriend, he had kids, we all lived together. Right up until the end, my family was still pretty okay with me. And yet I was still waking up, coming to whatever you want to call it, on the lawn, with a broken ankle and, with crutches. I'm sleeping outside of my house.
Yeah, what's up with that?
That's not normal.
Right.
Being carried in and then being in charge of children, and it just looked so messy it felt so messy on the inside, but I had always been able to make it look okay on the outside, and at the very end I lost that ability.
I hear that. Yeah.
The image shattered,
Mm-hmm.
I'd been able to make things look good on the outside in order to be able to do whatever I wanted to do and have people leave me alone. And I lost that ability at the end.
Yeah, and that's the readiness. Because what happens is, ready is like a lie that we tell ourselves, that I have to feel motivated and happy to want to go to treatment. Oh, I'm ready. That means I'm excited to get, hell no, right? It's never like that. It's like, I'm ready not to die. I'm ready to avoid the pain. I'm ready to get off the lawn. For me, it was, I'm ready to stop waking up with shame that I couldn't even remember, So you go through treatment and you participate. I mean, you were in it to win it. I remember meeting you in the group and us connecting there. And then you decided that you were gonna, because treatment is a great place, right, to get your bearings, right, to get your head on straight. But it's really what you do immediately following that really makes all the difference, right? And so you decided you wanted to get involved in coaching. And so you and I started working together.
Yes.
And you made some pretty significant decisions in that time that we worked together. Do you remember
Waste
some
no
of this?
time. Let's go.
You want to talk about goals, right? You're a very driven individual. And obviously I love to work with very smart, driven, sarcastic, funny, women are right up my alley. So what are some of the things that you wanted to accomplish and that you did accomplish when you were working together, some dreams that you had for your life, your new sober life?
So when I had made the plan to return back to California directly after treatment. And that had been my plan for I think I was there 88 days and all of, up to day 75, that was my plan. And some things happened back at home where it became apparent to me that I had invested a lot of time and money in myself. And that if I went home, I was putting those things in risk. And I just wasn't willing to do several things. I wasn't willing to write another check the size of the check that I wrote to that rehab. I wasn't willing to take another 90 days out of my life away from my family, my dog, my friends, and to give up all my freedoms again. And so I decided to stay in Florida, and I worked with you. And one of the suggestions when I said I wanted to stay was that I find a sober home to go live in. And I looked around and realized that so much of what was available was the definition of craptastic. And
Right.
did not seem like a conducive environment to the kind of life I wanted to build. They didn't feel healing, serene, encouraging. They just felt like crash pads with pizza boxes and a pretty high relapse rate. I was really, really fortunate that I could still rent an apartment on my own, both financially and credit-wise and all of that. And so that's what I did. And along the way, decided that what I would like to do is provide the environment that I needed when I got out of treatment for other women who were not in the position that I was in. Because
I think that's so amazing that you turned a need, because a lot of people could really just stay in that victim mentality. Oh, well, that's not available. But you're a solution-driven person and obviously a compassionate person. So you think about, okay, well, what about those people? And not to say that all Florida, please, before you message us your sober home links, we know that there are sober homes in Florida that are, especially now, there's,
right.
At the time, this was over 2 years ago. And at that time, there weren't as many options, really, because there were a lot of shady things that were happening in Florida, lots of shady things, unfortunately, in the industry. And so you decided you wanted to create a sober home.
Right.
And you did.
Something that really fit the needs of somebody that was more my age. I was 38, almost 39 years old, and maybe I was 39. I'm 40. I was 39 anyway. Math, not magic, but anyway, whatever I was shown, the links that I was given or the tours that I was given didn't show what I wanted. And so what I wanted to provide was a home that was both aesthetically beautiful and peaceful in energy and vibes, and also something that was tailored more towards a woman who was a little bit older.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be in a house of 20-year-olds who were very busy dating and doing some other things that didn't seem like constructive next steps to life. A place where women could really focus on themselves, doing the work inside that they need to do. I think that when you are in an environment that feels really temporary, it's hard to work on really permanent issues. And so I wanted a home that felt permanent to women, that they felt like they could take the living piece off the table. Like, I don't need to find a new place to live. I'm not constantly searching for my own apartment or what it is. They could take that off their plate for a little while and focus on the work that I know for me has really changed my life.
Yeah.
because a job is great and all those things. One of the things you said in treatment was, you know, somebody said, you asked this lady, what's your goal? What do you want to accomplish by being in treatment? And she said, I want to be a productive member of society. And I think you used a more choice word, but you said, well, you're screwed. And she said, why? And you said, you know, if you think that building this ordinary kind of cookie cutter life is going to make you want to stay sober and wake up and participate in your own life every day, you're wrong. Like getting in your crap apartment, your crap car, your crap job isn't what's going to do it for you. You're going to need to create something that is filled with passion and love and all of, you know, and beauty to make you want to be present in your own life.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, it's a philosophy we live by around here, right? Is to create a life worth being sober for, that you want to wake up and you don't want to screw it up. You know, you want to wake up and you want to protect the life you've created.
Exactly.
And your road has not been easy. I mean, we've been in each other's lives. It's been 2 years now. Has it not? It's been longer than that?
2.5. Yeah.
2.5. Okay. I thought so. So, you know, and we've, you know, taken little breaks from coaching, but primarily, I mean, we've been with each other this whole time, right? And you've been growing. This has not been a cakewalk for you. I mean, you have confronted some serious, actually, things that you never even expected to have to deal with, to have to confront. And I mean, you want to talk about, it's one thing to work on your stuff and to talk about it, to pontificate, right? To theorize. But you've actually had to be brave in ways most people, and courageous in ways most people just don't. So do you want to speak to some of the more challenging things that you had to confront in your sobriety?
Yeah, brave and courageous are very nice descriptor words. I'm not sure they're ones I would always assign to myself.
Humility is a good one.
So
you have a lot of humility about that, but you are very brave.
You know, I don't feel like they require that. I feel like they're the right thing to do, and so I just go do what I feel like is the right thing to do. But you know, right before I opened the house, actually, I was looking for a place, wasn't really sure what to do, or how to find like the right property. And I was going to go home to California for a little trip, and I was getting my nails done, and on the TV in the salon, there flashes this face, and I immediately recognized it as the gynecologist that was employed at University of Southern California while I was there. And immediately I remembered the experience that I had with him, the assault that took place that day. And I read the bottom and read, you know, why he was on the news. And it turned out that he had been sexually assaulting women for almost 30 years with the knowledge of the university. And I had a decision as to whether or not that was something I wanted to confront and deal with, or if it was something that I just wanted to fall by the wayside, brush under the rug, avoid. I'm not really sure what the other option was, but I did think about it for a couple months, and it took me quite some time to come to a decision. And it was important to me at that point to make a decision around what I thought I could stay sober through.
Wow. Well, so you know, that is the ticket right there, right? You having the understanding that there are levels of, okay, like what's my social responsibility, or what's my duty, what's my civic duty, or what's all these other factors. But you had been working so hard. I mean, the whole course of your coaching, the whole course of our work, your work that you've done is about learning how to love yourself first, right? It's learning actually how to love yourself first. So you were able to put yourself first in that scenario and say, what do I feel? I mean, imagine with all the noise, and actually, you know, there were other things. There could have been lots of motivating factors there. Justice, retaliation, you know, all these different things, right? But you decided to root down in your love for yourself and say, what am I going to stay sober through? What can I handle? And actually you leaned on the support network that you had to talk it through, to see what you could handle. and see what
Right.
was going to work for you. And we don't have to go into the whole story today because simply that would take the rest of the interview to be able to go through. But long story short, you ended up testifying. You ended up being part of a criminal, investigation with him. And
Not the criminal. I was part of because there's the statute of limitations only allows, for a certain number of years to go by before a woman should reasonably know that she was assaulted. Got my own issues with that, but
right.
what I did participate in was the federal lawsuit against the University of Southern California. And along the way, after I had made the decision that yes, and this is what's so amazing about the love yourself first part, right, is that once I had that piece in play and once I knew that I could stay sober and take care of myself, when I was asked to do more for this class action, I was able to do it because I had that foundation.
That's it.
And so when it came to, are you willing to stand up for justice? Will you do this interview? Will you write this piece? Will you come to this court hearing? Like, will you appear here? Will you be in this video? I was easily able to say yes because my foundation was rooted in knowing what was best for me. Right. And then I could be able to help other people.
And that's what I mean by that, participating in it, right? Participating in not the criminal, but the civil kind of aspect of it, because right. Yeah. It's one thing to go, let me sign my name on the sheet, right? That's not what you did. I just want to make sure everybody's really clear on that. You actually participated by lending your voice, your perspective, doing the interviews, going to the court, putting yourself in that situation, what could have been very triggering, traumatic, and you, but you were able to have that strong foundation in place because of the work that you had done.
Right.
And what a testimony, right, to that ability to see it through. Because at the end of the day, it wasn't about the lawsuit. It was about the injustices that had been done and kind of writing that and making sure that everybody being part of the collective voice with that, which is just so inspirational. I mean, I think a lot of people that are in their sobriety think about the things they can handle and they can't handle, and they underestimate sometimes if they have a strong foundation that they're able to go on and confront the things and because that incident that happened to you, as you found out through the work you did, was tied to so many tied into the drinking and all the different things, and really not knowing, because that's the link, is like you were drinking for a damn good reason. It's just you forgot about the reason all those years,
right.
And so this was really a way to uproot all that, which was just absolutely unbelievable.
Because drinking is that effective in the beginning, right?
Correct.
I mean, it was an effective solution to not dealing with the feelings that were happening. And it was so effective that I
forgot them.
Initially just
buried them.
Blocked it out, buried it until it was brought back to, consciousness with this in a nail salon while somebody's painting my toenails. What a nice, lovely, relaxing activity. And then here's this
post-traumatic stress now when you go to the manicure.
The juxtaposition of the two things was like, I'm getting a foot massage, and there's the man who sexually assaulted me, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Like, interesting.
I mean, obviously we can have this perspective now, and we can make, a joke about being where you were, but the reality was that was not easy for you to process. No. And I remember you coming in and us sitting and you processing and you having your feelings and that pent up resentment and rage and anger and righteous anger and resentment for like, oh shit. Oh, I don't want to swear. Okay, muffs, right? But I've
done
see
really well at not swearing.
You have. I'm so proud of you.
Difficult for me.
I'm so proud of you. I know, me too. People know me by now that they're like, oh my God, she hasn't sworn yet. They're probably like, surprised. But you were, you went through all that. Like, wow, if it wouldn't have happened, I wonder how my life would have gone, all these different things, these scenarios, and we're able to process and walk through. But you didn't stop there, right around after that, and you got through your sober home, you started to think about what was next for you.
Right.
And you decided that you wanted to pursue becoming a coach.
Right.
So can you talk a little bit about that decision and what it's been like for you and where you are?
you know, it goes along the same lines of, you know, me having had a need. And, you know, in the case of the sober home, I didn't have anywhere to fill it, or I didn't find anywhere to fill it. But, you know, when I was confronted with this experience, this assault from, you know, my very early 20s, I had you to go to. And I mean, thank God it was you. I can't imagine another human that it would have processed out the way that I was able to process with you. But
appreciate that.
I would like to provide that for, because on the other side of the fear and the anger and the hurt and all of the destruction that caused, it ends up being what provides me with some purpose, right? You helped me find purpose from the pain, which I didn't think was a possibility. I've been taught my whole life to ignore the pain, let the pain go, brush some dirt in it, wipe it off, it's fine. And the ironic part is that in confronting the pain is where I found all of the healing, all of the freedom, all of the purpose, like all of that stuff was sitting right there with me. I mean, it's been sitting right here in my gut my whole life.
That makes my hair stand up. That is amazing.
I spend all this time like, no, keep it away.
Yes, anesthetize it, anesthetize it.
Here it is.
Yes.
And inside of it was all of the answers that I needed.
Yeah.
It explained a lot of why I did the things that I did. It explained my behaviors, my actions, my hurts, all of those things. And it also gave me a purpose, and purpose is kind of what we're all looking for, I believe.
I certainly believe that people, the type of people that you and I help, you know, that are feeling like that kind of drifting along, there has to be something more. What is the point of this?
Right.
Because you can have it, you can kind of have looking like you have it, but if there's a like unfulfilled piece of us, I mean, that's the forever empty. You know, they can't get full enough from whatever we're popping or drowning. And so you're becoming a coach with me. You're becoming a certified empowerment coach. And wow, what an amazing journey. And that's like what's so exciting to me is seeing people all the way home. Not everybody goes all the way. You know, lots of people just go on about their, you know, they're already like professional people and other things that they don't want to stop doing, like being, you know, doctors or real estate people or whatever, you know. Hey, I'm not trying to recruit you, but they would. I have people that are in those professional places that do come over and get certified as a coach because they're making a lot of money, but they still have that unfulfilled. You know, they realize, oh my gosh, I do have a purpose now, and so it's such a blessing for me to be able to walk you all the way through, because you have something that I think the world needs, you know, and and really truly in so many ways, because one of these things about you is this courageous aspect of you that you don't even consider courageous, which so many women are already kind of, I'm watching, and men flabbergasted, like, oh my God, she went into recovery, then she opened a sober house, then she confronted people with national media, and now she's becoming a coach. It's like, wow, talk about the courage. But that's just what you call Tuesday. You know, I mean, and so well,
it's been more than a Tuesday. It's been quite a few Tuesdays.
It's been quite a few Tuesdays, right? But you have this desire in your heart to give back and to help, and you really do care. And you also have this ability to have this unique, fresh perspective that is a different kind of side, you know, than most people consider. You, what I love about your main message, and I think that we've uncovered one of your main messages as we've been working together, and we find that out in coaching, like, you know, what do you have to offer and bring the world? It's really this notion that you're supposed to be living someone else's life, that other people are supposed to say, hey, here's how you behave, you do this, here's the box you're in, here's the job you have, here are the kids in the house. And we call this, you know, Elisabeth's unconventional life.
Right.
You know, because you really haven't really done things. When you did do things, it didn't line up with you. And so we want to talk about, you know, this unconventional life, because it's kind of manifested now. Then you decide to become a coach, and now what's happening in your unconventional life? What's going on?
You're talking about the belly? It's not just a burrito, it's a baby.
Yeah. You're an overachiever, E.T. You're an overachiever. Okay.
Yes. If we can get knocked up at 40. Woo!
Did you think that would happen? Did you think that would happen?
No. No, and I flat told you were full of SHIT when you told me it would.
Because you wanted a baby.
I did.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a baby.
Mm-hmm.
But, in that attempt to live a conventional life, and I'm sure that you could find several family members headed up probably by my mom who would argue that I did not try conventional one little bit. But whatever it looked like on the outside, I really did try
From your
for that.
perspective, you did.
Inside.
Sure.
I wanted to do what everybody had been telling me I was supposed to do. You go to college, you meet a man, you get married, you get a dog, you have babies, you buy a house, you have a career, and like, ta-da, happy, like everything's done. And I tried that, and I literally woke up on my lawn wanting to die. And so I had to let go of everybody else's metric of happiness. And I don't know that those are put in place maliciously. I don't think that they're put in place really intentionally by our family and friends. Maybe a little more maliciously when it comes to, social media or advertisers. They definitely want you to feel like you should look away, live away, drive something. They've got money behind it. And I believe that my family had the best of intentions, but it just wasn't making me happy. And so I had to eventually just sit down and say, listen, I have a new metric for happiness, and like, here's what it is, and here's what I'm going to do about it. And I appreciate the advice and the well-intentioned direction, but I need to do this on my own, and I need to figure out really what makes me happy. That's going to look pretty unconventional. So I had always wanted to have a baby. I have friends who have children, and I have friends who don't have children, and I have, dated men who have had children, and I've had the blessing and opportunity to spend, several years with a couple kids that I still hold very near and dear to me. But due to circumstance like that, just didn't work out. And I was left with, you and I talked a lot about this, like, was I mourning the relationship or was I mourning the children? And really came to find out, like, I'm really mourning the mom role. It's a role that I had always wanted to fulfill. And I think I remember saying to you, and heads up, universe, like, watch out what I say, because it'll take me seriously, and that's unfortunate sometimes. But I said, I'm really not tied at all to how it happens.
Yeah.
It could be adoption, it could be fostering, it could be, somebody, marrying somebody who has children, it could be having my own kid. I don't know, I'm not really tied to it. And actually went to a foster class with you, and had the lady come and check out my house and went through all of these things. And then as it turns out, like, I just got knocked up on a third date, I mean,
keeping it real. Keeping it real.
Well, I'm like, sorry, but it was a third date. It was pretty good.
I love it. It was a good third date.
It was a really good third date. And
yeah.
Oh my God, so embarrassing. Anyway, it was a really good third date, but by a man who's got a lot of stuff on his plate, and he's not going to be a part of this. And I hold no ill will towards that. And he holds no ill will towards me. And I just all of a sudden was confronted with this, like, okay, so despite a couple attempts at not becoming pregnant, from that experience, here I am.
Yeah.
And I'm pregnant. And I remember a girlfriend of mine from home texted me. I hadn't talked to her in a while, and she said, "Hey, are you pregnant?" And I said, "There's like a really tiny chance, but I took Plan B, and I don't think so. And she said, I had a dream you were pregnant. I think that you're pregnant. Go pee on a stick, Ladybug. She calls me Ladybug. And when I did, I texted her. I'm like, oh my God, is that a second line? That's the second line. Doesn't look. And she said, that's a second line. Are you laughing or crying? And I said, a little bit of both.
Yeah, shit, plan C.
Real,
C, that shit don't work. Plan C.
Right? No,
C,
I guess I should have read the directions
C
on
there.
Fox. They would have let me know that taking it was completely useless at that point. I mean, it was within 24 hours, but I didn't know exactly how it worked. And
yeah,
I now get to create like a family that's not your normal family, right? It's a little unconventional, and I am thrilled and terrified and amazed in both good and bad ways at what my body is capable of doing. But it's been a pretty wild little experience. You know, you and I had just started doing the coaching training and put that in place, and all of a sudden it was like, all right, well, that's gonna have to kick into sixth gear here because we've got a time limit now. And of course the whole world decided to go ahead and get changed.
So what's really interesting is whenever you might be listening to this or watching this recording, it might be a long time from now when you finally stumbled upon this, but if you're watching it now, we're in the middle of a crisis, a pandemic, and so there's like a new normal that's being established this past month, and will be continue on for a little while. And so I think, what I'm looking for here to wrap it up with everybody, because I think by now we can kind of get an idea of your level of perseverance and resilience. And I think who that is most helpful for are the type of women that you like to serve, that you want to work with. And can you speak a little bit to, who you're hoping to help, when you get into your, how they can contact you and send you a message, or who you'd like to work with? Because right now, what I'm saying is it's trying times. Okay, so if you're watching this now more than ever, what I can imagine, you can speak to it too, Elisabeth, for sure, because this is your show, right? I mean, it's your coaching practice. But if I were you at home and I was listening to this interview, and I would think, holy cow, this woman has stayed sober for 2.5 years, okay, minimum at least right now, and she's done it while building a sober house. And believe me, if you think that's a cakewalk, you better guess again. That was a definite ending a dysfunctional relationship and walking away from the children that she was attached to, confronting sexual trauma from the past, and then pursuing a lawsuit with and interviewing and all these different media outlets and other challenges, right? Then becoming a coach and deciding to pursue that, then getting pregnant, and now in the middle of a pandemic. Girl, boy, if you are sober and you're like, I don't know if I can get through this time period, will you please hire her? Will you please send her a message? Clearly you can see this is your girl, okay? But who do you like to work with? Who do you like to help?
First of all, some of your descriptions are so sweet. I'm not sure how much I walked away or how much I was, banging my head against a wall and found out that the wall is quite solid and I'm not going to be pushing through it anytime soon.
And you're still here.
And
we're not saying it's easy. We're not saying it's easy. You're a realist.
I have not done this perfectly. Let me tell you that. I am by no means a non-mistake making perfection.
Can I tell you that I don't like to work with people like that anyway?
No.
I don't like to work with people who are like, oh, I'm perfect. I want the real. I want the authentic and the real life challenges so that we can make use of them and turn that pain into purpose and get more clarity on who you are and why you're on the planet. And so, no, your journey has not been easy. That's the point.
Similarly to you, like I want to work with women who want to go help other women. Like I want to be with women who know that the real like payoff in dealing with our own drama and our own trauma and our own stuff is that we get to go help somebody else do it.
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
I
Amen.
believe wholeheartedly in the human race, and that, you know, as people who are capable of love and connection and helping each other out, like, that's where the real joy and, you know, connection is the opposite of addiction. I've read that 100 times, and I believe it. And I want to work with women who are ready to have a different life. They're ready to live their life, undefined by anybody else and only defined by their own metric of what makes them happy, fulfilled, what brings them passion and connection and love.
Man, I love you. I fall more in love with you every time I listen to you and I'm with you, because what's better than that? What is better than, and the foundation has to be this love yourself first, right? That's why you became a certified empowerment coach, is like, you're going to walk people through the same processes that you went through. You've been certified to walk people through the same methods, the same exercises, the same.
And they work.
And they work. It's living proof. They work, right? Yes. I mean, before, you know, I developed these processes while working at the treatment center. So I was there as part of a faculty for 8 years, like thousands of clients. It's like, I didn't theorize, right? I'm in the trenches, like figuring out, okay, what's the process we can do here to eliminate this shame? How can we, and that's how the process came about. So I just want to say that I feel so blessed and lucky that I have a woman like you in this kind of army, right? In this like love army, right? That we're on the ground and pursuing other women who are also want to rise up and become teachers to other women and have the big vision. But even if their goal isn't, you know, ultimately to become a coach or to help other women that way, you're helping a woman just by getting your head on straight, right? Like, you're helping the sister that is your sister or your daughter or your son, or, you know, the world as a whole, right? So I'm so grateful for you. You are just one of a kind. The best thing about you is you know, you're authentic, you're real, you're not perfect by any stretch of imagination. Thank God, because you give people permission. So check her stuff out. Where can they find you and how can they get a hold of you?
So
what's the best way right now?
The best way right now would probably be on my Facebook page, Elisabeth Treadway Coaching, and that is Elisabeth with an S. Ask my mom, I didn't do it. But Elisabeth Treadway Coaching, you can message me on there. You can also find me on my website, which is elisabethtreadway.com.
Great. And Facebook is so easy, you know, because they're able to send you messages. They can look at your videos or contact you with a message, or if they just want to say, hey, that was a great interview, thank you for sharing, that'd be great as well, right? So,
that would be great. I'd love to hear from anybody.
So we want to thank you for taking time to listen to this interview today, and hopefully it's inspired you in some way or motivated you or given you some little bit of encouragement. And if it has, will you be so kind to let us know? Leave a comment, make sure you're subscribed, share it with a girlfriend who you know can really benefit from it, especially during these times. And by all means, contact Elisabeth Treadway Coaching so that you can get the support that you need. Thank you again for doing the interview today, and we'll see you guys really soon.